Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about Daniel Jones and the New York Football Giants and how Daniel Jones is set up for a breakout year with all the weapons that the Giants organization brought in this offseason. Before I hop into the content of today's video, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and drop a like on the video if you guys do enjoy it. Thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate the support recently, and now we're on the road to 2,000, so if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. And with all that being said, let's hop into the video about Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. After an insane rookie season with the Giants, completing 62% of his passes, throwing for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions, Daniel Jones kind of fell off in his second season as a pro. He slightly improved his completion percentage this past season, but only throwing for 2,900 yards, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and he did miss a few games due to injury, but it was clear to see that Daniel Jones struggled more in his sophomore season than he did as a rookie. But the Giants front office didn't panic and bring in another quarterback to take his spot. Instead, they want to surround him with weapons and see really what they have in the quarterback before they try to move on and go after somebody else. The Giants started off the offseason with a huge splash when they signed Kenny Golladay to a 4-year, $72 million deal and has a max value of $76 million and $40 million guaranteed. Now, Kenny Golladay was the top wide receiver on the market, and many people were surprised that, the Lions actually let him walk. Kenny Golladay has been one of the best deep threats in the entire NFL, and he's known as a jump ball receiver, but he's a very explosive player, and he's going to step in and be a great addition for the Giants offense, who've kind of missed a receiver that can just go up one-on-one and make a play happen. But they weren't even close to being done sounding weapons for Daniel Jones. They then went out and got John Ross to a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. And John Ross really hasn't worked out so far in the NFL. We started his career with the Cincinnati Bengals, but he has a chance to revitalize his career, and we all know the talent that he has and the speed that he has. He set the record for the fastest 40-yard dash time at the combine, so we really know that he has the speed. He just needs to translate to the NFL and get better with catching and staying on the field, and he can be a contributor for that offense. The Giants already have a top 10 tight end in Evan Ingram, but they also went out to complement him, and they gave Kyle Rudolph a 2-year, $16 million contract. That's a good pair of tight ends that you can run 2 tight end sets with. Kyle Rudolph is 31 years old, but he still, I think, has some left in the tank, and he's going to be able to contribute in the run game as well in the pass game. One of the most disappointing injuries of all last year was Saquon Barkley in week 2 when he tore his ACL. Of course, Barkley will be back this year. He's been recovering ever since that injury, and he's going to be looking to come back even stronger than he ever has in his career. And right now, Saquon Barkley is actually favored to win NFL Comeback Player of the Year. And I know that doesn't mean much in the summer, but it just gives evidence of Saquon's work ethic and how hard he's been battling back to actually get to peak Saquon. And we're going to see how good he can be off that knee injury. And I expect him to be a very electrifying player come next year. But the Giants don't need a rushing back either because they invested a lot into their running back room. They thought that they were too one-dimensional with Saquon, and they need some other guys to help carry the load, and that's why they went out there and they got Devontae Booker, they got Corey Clement, Raquel Armstead, and of course in the draft they selected Gary Brightwell out of Arizona. And that's 4 running backs that are going to go in camp and maybe compete for a roster spot, and I'm sure they're going to keep at least 2 of those guys to stay on the active roster, and that means they don't have to rush Saquon back right away. I know those guys aren't world beaters, but they are pretty decent running backs that can contribute while Saquon heals to be 100%. But I think this was a smart move by the Giants to have your main star running back as running back 1, and then you have some guys that can fill in and also contribute when Saquon needs a rest. And last but not least, the Giants' first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft was Kadarius Toney out of Florida, and he's an electrifying piece who's going to add even more speed and quickness to an offense that already has so much of it. So the Giants in 2021 are going to roll out a receiving core with Kadarius Toney, Kenny Golladay, John Ross, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, and then have the tight ends Kyle Rudolph, Evan Ingram, and if you want to bring in Calvin Benjamin into that list, you can, but the main tight ends, of course, are Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph. And then for running backs, you have Saquon Barkley, Raquel Armstead, Devontae Booker, and Gary Brightwell. The Giants are loaded with weapons on the offensive side of the ball, and Daniel Jones really doesn't have many excuses going into this season. In 2020, the Giants spent their first-round pick on Andrew Thomas, who's developing into a pretty good left tackle to watch Daniel Jones' blind side. Nate Soldier will be returning from the COVID list, and he can provide some reinforcements on that offensive line if they decide to bring him back and not cut him post-June. The Giants' offensive line needs a little bit of work, and hopefully some of the young players they have on that unit can develop, gel together, and when it comes to the season, they can actually be a decent offensive line. Pro Football Focus had them ranked as the 31st best line in the NFL last year, but of course they're going to get Nate Soldier back if they want him. And more likely than not, the young players from last year, Andrew Thomas, Matt Pert, and their guard Shane from Oregon last year, I think all three of those guys will take a step forward, and that offensive line should theoretically improve from last season. With all those elements combined, the Giants really have a formidable offense for next season. Their defense was actually pretty decent last year. At most times, it really did carry the team. James Bradbury was a great addition, as well as Leonard Williams. They really anchored that defense, and I expect them to do the same next year. It's all going to be about the Giants' offense, and if they can take the next step and actually make the Giants into a really formidable team in the NFC. The Giants have the 8th easiest schedule going into the 2021 NFL season. With all the Giants' opponents' records combined, they had below a 500 record, so the Giants have another schedule in their favor, and we'll see if the Giants can take advantage of the schedule and potentially win the NFC East. The Giants owner is kind of putting a little bit more pressure on Daniel Jones to actually win this season. He was quoted in a press conference saying, "It's been a very difficult 4 or 5 year period for us, and I'm tired of the losing and of having the postseason press conference trying to explain what went wrong and why I think we're making progress. It's time for us to start winning some more, and that's one of the reasons we spent as much money as we did." And I think this adds some pressure to Daniel Jones to actually be successful this year. They've given him everything that he needs. He's got a solid running back, he's got great weapons on the outside, he's got a good tight end, and he's got a young offensive line that can develop into a pretty decent one in the NFL. He's going to be year 2 in the same offense, so he won't be learning a new system. So Daniel Jones is really primed to take the next step, and the Giants have done a good job giving him everything that he needs to do that. The Giants and the Washington football team have always been my 2 teams that I think have the best chance to win the NFC East next year. Although I think the Cowboys have the best quarterback in Dak Prescott, I definitely think the Giants and Washington have the most complete rosters of anybody in that division. I think the success of the Giants really comes down to their offense and how much improvement that they can get out of Daniel Jones. Year 3 is when you really figure out what you have in a player, and this is going to be make or break for Daniel Jones. The owner and Dave Gettleman are getting a little bit impatient, and they really want to see some results this season from their quarterback. I think the key for Daniel Jones is just keeping care of the ball, and if he can do that and just limit the turnovers, I think they can balance their offense with their run game and also play some pretty good defense and not put all the pressure on him to make plays constantly. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think of the Giants and what they did this offseason to support their quarterback. And also let me know if you guys think Daniel Jones will take the next step this year. I think he has a good chance to. It's just about taking care of the ball and staying healthy on the field. I don't think the Giants can afford another injury to him and be forced to play Mike Glennon down the stretch to win games. I don't think that's going to get them to the playoffs. They need Daniel Jones to stay healthy and take care of the ball. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and drop a like in the video if you guys did enjoy it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.